Thank you all for joining us for another True Tall Tales and Whiskey episode. Tonight's bottle of whiskey is donated by Apex Boots. Thank you all for the bottle of TX whiskey. Y'all be sure to check out their selection of boots and other apparel that they have. We're going to drop the link in the description on this video of this episode. Tonight in the Whiskey Locker, we got Mr. Ryder Grimes in the house.
What's up, y'all? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. He's coming up on the charts with his debut single, Velvet Chains, along with his self-titled EP, which is it's self-titles. I forgot. Oh, fuck that up.
Oh, we're gonna leave.
We're gonna roll it. We're gonna roll it.
Leave it.
Anyways, along with his self-titled EP that he released earlier this year.
Well,
all right.
Oh, I cut you off.
You want to argue about it?
No. What, you want to go?
Were you going to say something? I had a question lined up.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Cool.
All questions.
All right, Ryder.
We all love each other.
We're just going to jump right into this.
Do we? Come on.
Do we,
though? Do we?
Do we?
No, send them at me. Come on. I'm decent at answering questions. Come on.
So, growing up with your dad, Mr. Rod Grimes, playing music probably throughout your entire life since you were a kid, at what point did you decide that that's what you wanted to do as well?
Well, man, there's a lot of different turning points, I guess I could say, that I really wanted to do it because, like you said, I grew up with it all my life, and that's a fact. I think since I was born, my dad's been playing music, and it's just been something that's kind of been natural to me. And my dad, he played all the places that we've all grown up to play as all musicians that are in this room. I think we've all played some of those places, so it's cool. But, man, probably in... Man, it's so hard because, like I said, I've been around it my whole life. Like, I don't even remember, if I'm going to take a guess, probably 2006, 2007, when I got my first guitar. And I still have it to this day. I should have brought it. That would have been a cool little thing to feature on here. But I got my first guitar for my birthday. I was like, I don't even remember how old I was. I was young. And my mom signed it and stuff. And it's just a cool keepsake to have now. And every now and then I'll pull it out and look at it. I said, man, this is cool to still have that, to be doing what I'm doing now and to have this little keepsake. It just reminds me to stay humble and stuff. But, yeah, man, probably 2006 or 2012 maybe. That'd be the best time because I was older at the time and I could really actually do it. But funny story about that, you mentioned my dad playing, and he still does it occasionally. And I remember Sweetwater Grill. We'd go up there. He'd have a gig up there. And because that was the one family place I could get into, and props to Chris Young and all my friends up there. Great place, man. Go check them out if you haven't. My stomping grounds, that's where I got my start. But my dad, he'd go up there with his band, and they'd have a gig or something. And I love the electric guitar, and I still do. And Matt, we love electric guitars. Me and Matt do, I know. And
damn
Michael,
right
I bet
do.
you do too. I see
I
you
love
play one a lot,
guitars.
man.
Yeah, I just can't play it like y'all can. But
I can't play it well either. So we're in the same boat. But you're better than me.
Oh my God.
No, man. But my dad, they'd have a gig, and I like I said, I was partial to an electric guitar, a Telecaster in particular. And I had this one that I rigged up to look like Brad Paisley's, one of his guitars. It had the Paisley pickguard and all that. And I used to sneak it out to his gigs. Like, he wouldn't know. I'd slip it in the trailer. Like, they'd be loading up. The drummer would be at the house putting his drums in the trailer, and I'd slip my guitar in the trailer. Like, he wouldn't see it. And we'd get to the gig, and he said, man, what's this guitar doing in here, Ryder? He said, you don't even play on stage. Like, why are you bringing this? I said, well, you never know. I might get up there. And I think it was that same night. He was just messing with me, of course, man. I owe it all to my family for what I'm doing now, and I wouldn't be here without it. But if I find the picture, I'm going to send it to y'all, and y'all have to put it in this podcast because I know y'all can do that because y'all are magic. But
Deal.
There's a picture of me probably on the same night that all went down. My dad let me get up on stage with him. I was wearing I was little bitty. I was wearing some big old blue jeans, some fake alligator boots, a big old cowboy hat that didn't fit me, and a Pink Floyd shirt that was a 3XL. And for a 8-year-old, that's a big shirt. And there's me up there with my telly all the way up at my chest and no cable. I wasn't plugged in. They would always get me up on stage and not plug me in. But, man, I was in hog heaven. I didn't care if I was plugged in or not. I was on stage with the band, especially the band that I looked up to and learned everything from. So that's kind of how I got to start. I know I dragged that out, but I always like to tell that little story because it adds a lot.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, that brings me to our next part of the interview. So you know me, man. I'm a gearhead. I love to talk shop.
Same here, man.
You know what I mean? And when I first came on the scene, I used to see your dad's band, and I think there was one year, it might have been Tunes for Tots at Sweetwater. Shout out to Sweetwater Grill, man.
And Tracy Travers and Amber.
And Tracy and Amber,
legends.
absolutely, man.
And Brad Jennings.
Brad Jennings.
And Brad
Man.
Jennings, man, all solid people. Brad actually lives down the road from me, man. I see him on the golf cart
Yeah,
all the time.
cruising on the golf cart
Shout
all
out
the
to
time.
Brad, man. Yeah,
Hanging out.
yeah.
Sir.
But anyway, so we're at Tunes for Tots one year, and I see Rod and Johnny and everybody getting on stage, and then here comes Ryder with he had like a Bad Cat 50 amp head and like a 2-rock
Yep.
speaker cabinet. Yeah, I remember.
The big one.
The
It's
big-
tall. It's as tall as me.
The big one, the 212, right? Had
Yep.
it stacked vertical. And I was like, this dude is about to come out here and kill it. And he tried to say like he's not a guitar player earlier. This dude right here is a guitar player, bro. Like his tone was so dialed in, and at that time I was real fresh on the scene. So I hadn't heard a lot of guys dialed in like that, you know. And I was like, man, this dude is gonna be somebody, right? So now that you have crossed that bridge and you're a singer-songwriter extraordinaire,
Oh man, don't go there.
we got to talk some shop.
Oh, I'm down
Okay.
to talk some gear, man. So throw them at me.
First thing I want to hear about is that Gibson custom shop you were playing earlier.
I think we can wherever it's
That
at.
thing's beautiful.
Where is it? There it is.
Let's talk about that. Is that Honeyburst? What is that?
So this is actually, and see, there for a while I was getting it mistaken heavily. Like I was bad about mistaking this as Honeyburst, but it's not. This is in Heritage Cherry Sunburst, and this is an 07 model, a custom shop, J45. And in 2007, they did not spray this. Gibson really didn't focus on this light colored guitar. Heritage Cherry was not necessarily something they did. And so if you wanted one of these, you had to get it custom shop. And I found this in a little bitty music store down in Belton, Texas. And I went in there. I was looking for a J45. I was in the market for one. And I went in there, and they had it. I said, man, do you have any J45s? And he pulls this out of the case. And I strum just, there's a pick in there, but you get it. I just straight up strum like and I don't know how well you can even hear that, but it just rings for days.
Yeah,
And-
it's alive, man.
Yeah,
It's
man,
alive.
it's a monster guitar, and I played that one G chord, and I said, yeah, pack this up for me. Let's go check out. I want this.
That's so I do the same thing, man, but it's an E minor.
Yeah,
I strum that E minor, dude, and if it rings out like that, I'm like, okay, now we talking.
yeah.
So that's cool, man. That's a beautiful guitar. I mean, most J45s you see they're
Thank you,
regular
sir.
sunburst. That's cool to see one with that kind of finish on it.
And-
I don't see that very often.
And that was my thing with that guitar. Like, I'm a Gibson nut. I love Gibsons. I have a couple of them, but J45s and Gibson acoustics in general, you have to get the right ear model. And I'm not trashing Gibson at all. I love everything that they put out, but you really have to, just depending on your sound, to be honest, because some of the newer ones sound a little thinner and they still sound great, but it's not necessarily what you want. I have a deeper voice, so I wanted something that was going to fit my deep voice.
Absolutely.
And I happen to find that in the 05 to 07, 08, just that year model Gibson has just always been something that's really stood out to me. And especially that color, like you said, you don't see a lot that color. And I only know maybe 3 or 4 guys in general, like nationally, that have those that are on the scene and stuff. So
Right.
it's cool to have something unique. But man, I'm a Gibson nut. I'm a Gibson nerd. So
That's awesome.
can't beat them.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you're an artist and you have them ears, right? You want a guitar that complements you sonically, right? It plays along with you. But man, being a singer-songwriter, you're fronting a band. You also want to have that nice piece of eye candy for everybody.
Oh,
to
for
look
sure,
at.
for
They're
sure.
looking at you like, oh my God, Ryder Grimes. And, damn, what's that guitar right there? You know what I mean? So
Man, and that guitar gets a lot of looks. And since we're on the subject of that one, before we move on, I'll go ahead and talk about the thing that really gets the looks. And it's this strap right here. I have it backwards. But my buddy Nate out at 4 and 4 LLC, leather company out in Dallas, he made this for me. And you see it's got all personality on there. My family is
Yeah,
partially
that's
from
sick.
Louisiana. So we had to throw in a little bit of both home states on there in a way. And then you got the Texan Cajun there on the little tailpiece there. And he did a fantastic job. And the Louis, I like to have that. And
oh yeah, that's sick, dude.
man,
That's-
thank y'all very much. Nate did a great job over at 4 and 4. Y'all go check him out if you need some leather work done, and he'll get you taken care of.
Nate over at 4-4.
Yes, sir. He did it,
And
and
that's beautiful.
I figured to compliment a beautiful guitar, I never really had a nice strap, and I figured it was time to get one because I finally found my tool.
Right.
And you
right.
got to have a nice, if you have a nice impact wrench or a drill or something, you got to have it in a nice bag. And it's just like, I have a nice guitar. Let's just compliment like what's going to be holding that guitar, and that's the strap. And
Most definitely.
let's have a nice thing to hold it up with, and that was the strap. So that's why I went ahead and got that done for me.
So another cool thing, I've been seeing you playing all these live shows with your band, man, and I'm proud, as a fellow colleague in this scene. It's really cool to see you out there doing it, man, and just skyrocket into the top. And so I go on Facebook and I look at pictures and watch videos when I can, and I see you got a Brent Mason telly now.
I do.
So tell me about that, man. What was the turning point for you? Like, were you like, I need to have this pickup configuration? Like, what? Do you just like how it looks? Like,
see, you're talking a little too advanced for me because when I saw, I'm a Brent Mason nerd. I'm a nerd for a lot of gear things, music related stuff. So people watching don't get annoyed because I might say that a few times. But no, man, Brent Mason played on just every one of my heroes' records growing up. I mean, Alan Jackson, George Strait. I can't. Those are just the two I know because I know he's done thousands upon thousands. And when Fender released that, I said, man, I gotta get this. Like, I can't let this go. Like over 2 years with me not owning one of these. So, and funny story on that guitar is I looked and looked for that thing, man, and it's just the coolest tool you could have because you could do the Les Paul thing, it can do the Strat thing, it can do the Telly thing, it can do all three of them at the same time, and it's got a B-bender in it.
Yeah.
Because I love B-benders and I love pedal steel guitars. I play one, but I'm not great at it, so I can emulate that with a B-bender, which I can actually play. But what I love about Glazer's bender system they put in that is it's called the convertible, and you can switch it. I can, on a whim, on a dime, make that thing a G-bender. Like all I have to do is switch a saddle. And
country cats out there.
Man, it's a great tool, great investment, and I found that guitar in a little bitty tiny music store called Action Sound out in Hawkins, Texas. Great little store. And I walked in there, and it's just the last place you would expect to see that in there.
Right.
Like there is there's guitars on the floor. There's so many guitars in this place.
They're discontinued, right? I mean, they did a run of them, and now they're continued.
I don't even know, man. To be honest, I haven't looked into it. I got mine. I'm like, yes, like
right,
this is mine. Like, no, back off. Like, yeah, like, all right, I got my guitar. Like, let's not look anymore because you never know. My brain runs 1,000 miles an hour. But yeah, man, I got it. And it's just been my kind of number one telly ever since. But
that's sick. I know you still got the Sunburst American.
And the Sunburst comes out more now. That's become my number one. I keep both of them on the road with me, but the Sunburst has kind of become my new number one, man. It's because that was my original number one, and my dad got me that. It was my first real like American-made electric guitar made by Fender, and not Squire's made by Fender, but it was my first Fender, like my real one. Like I remember when I got that guitar. It had a Brad Paisley, one of his guitar picks, because Brad Paisley is one of my heroes as a guitar player. He's the reason I picked up playing guitar. And he put one of the picks, like one of his concert-used picks in the strings, and that just completed it. And I have the pick, and I still have the guitar, man. So
man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I got the Brent Mason, and it stays out. That guitar has no lacquer on it. It's just solid paint, and it's where I rest my arm, the paint's coming off, and I sanded the neck off of it, and the neck's turning black because of the dirt and stuff off my hands, and it's a working man's guitar. I mean, a telly is in general, but I'm partial to my tellies and I'm partial to my Gibson acoustics, so they all stay out with me on the road, and I just swap. It's fun.
Well, it's cool how they come back around,
Exactly,
back on the Sunburst again.
Yeah,
feels like home, and
because
that's cool. That's a very real situation. I feel like a lot of musicians experience.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, everybody has their number one for a little while, and the Brent Mason was my number one for a long time, and it still is sometimes, but I pulled that 92 out of the case, put new strings on it. I said, man, it's time to put this bad boy back to work.
So, Ryder, obviously you've expanded your game when it comes to the guitars you play and things like that. A lot of us like to think of you as local, Ryder Grimes, but then I look at your schedule, and it's not so local. So I know you have some big things coming up, and what was the first thing that kind of made you realize that you had the talent to expand it more than just playing your local acts?
Well, man, this will always be my home, Hunt County. You know, I'm from here. I was born and raised here, and I got my start, like I said, at Sweetwater, man, playing open mics, and I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I don't like to brag on myself at all because I'm just thankful to even get to do this. That God put this in my life to get to do this, and I don't even know, man. It's just keep working hard. That's really what I'm trying to revert on the question and just kind of really bring it up because I don't really know, to be honest, man, because I've just been working hard since I was little and started playing. My first professional gig was in 2016, and that's when I started playing for money. I'd get my little zips and stuff and all that, and now I do this for my job, and it's life-changing, but I don't know how to say, like, man, I just don't know how to expand on that because I don't want to sound like I'm like talking about myself because I'm not good at talking about myself because I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or whatever.
It's a personal journey too,
For sure.
Well, I'll build you up some. I mean, Ryder's a badass. I mean, he is.
Thank y'all,
Like,
man. Y'all are great.
I mean,
yes, sir.
Y'all are great.
I don't know. I've known Ryder now for I don't know how many years, but funny thing about Ryder, and I've told a lot of people this. His dad, I showed up one time at Sweetwater.
Yeah.
Showed up at Sweetwater one time with my wife and a friend of ours and his wife, and he was my best friend, and he went up to your dad. They were taking a break. He had a great crowd, and he said, "Hey, I got a buddy. Can he get up there and play a song during your break?" And he was like, "Buy me 2 shots." And so my buddy was like, "All right." So he bought him a couple shots. He bribed him, and I got up on stage. He got to sing a couple of songs for his crowd, and it was always really cool. And then watching you grow up, and I would hear you, I would see you get up there at the open mics and play, or I'd see you get up and play lead with somebody, and then I'd get to talking to you, and you're telling me, "Oh, I'm learning how to play slide guitar tonight," or I'm learning how to play slide guitar right now, or so yeah, Ryder's a badass. So
Well,
don't let him fool
man.
you.
That means a ton, man.
It's been a badass.
So it's funny y'all say that. When Ryder texts me, which I don't recommend about the show, Ryder actually texted me and was like, "Hey man, like love what y'all are doing." Like he's been with us from the beginning, luckily. And he was like,
yes, it's a
he's
start.
like, "What's it take to be on the show?" And I texted him back. I was like, "Man, you got to be a badass. You got to be like Ryder Grimes badass."
Oh, man.
Like, so it's funny that that's the way you.
And y'all are
describe
killing
it.
me.
Oh, we're gonna swell your head up by
Take-
the time
take
this
these
episode's
calls.
He's not gonna be able to get out of the whiskey locker.
Once the camera's off, we're gonna knock you back down a couple. You know what I mean?
But no, man. I mean, just circle back on that. I don't really know. Like I said, I just been grinding out hard, and just you hear the feedback from the crowd and stuff, and I don't necessarily hear a lot of it, which I do and I don't. But you hear it and you see people clapping and stuff. And you're like, all right, man. Well, they like me. Let's see what it takes to get to this next step, and just that comes with working hard and writing. I always say you're never going to write the perfect song. You're never going to write your personal best song, and there's never going to be a perfect song. And that's just my opinion. And people may say whatever they want to about this, but as an artist and as a writer, you will always have a better next song. I look back on the stuff that came out 4 months ago and say, man, what is this? Like, why did I write that? And it's not me like bragging. It's just like, man, it's that personal confidence. Like, I can do better. Like, people like what I have out now, but it's like, all right, they like that. Let's give them something better. So that's my attitude. And that's kind of what I guess if I really was like forced to answer this question with an answer like this, it would say, man, just getting better as I've grown older and just growing my talent in general and learning, because my big thing is learning. I mean, y'all were the guys that I grew up around and just asking y'all questions. I mean, I'm sure I picked all y'all's brains multiple times about, playing music and stuff. So just learning and perfecting my craft and realizing, all right, man, people are kind of starting to like this. Let's try and go a little farther. So there's my little very confusing answer. Sorry, people watching.
So
for that.
Did you feel like you made it when I photoshopped your head on Michael Summers' body?
Matt, okay. See what
I thought I'd made it.
and the thing that was funny, about that whole post, and I didn't even know I was photoshopped on anybody else's body. I didn't even know I was in the picture. I was looking and I'm like, man, I
You
hope
just saw a good-looking face with long hair. And
it wasn't me. So I was looking at so there was 2 pictures for the people that don't know what we're talking about. There was 2 pictures on this Facebook post because you can put 2 pictures on Facebook and it's weird, but it cuts like it's weird. Technology is interesting. But I don't know who runs the page, the admin of the Truth Tall Tales page, but they posted a picture one day and it was of the whole gang, the host. And on the bottom half of that picture, it was the same picture, but everybody was swapped around. Well, it wasn't brought to my attention that I was in this picture until somebody said, man, Michael Summers looks good with Ryder's head on him. And I'm like, well, hold up. I said, whoa. And then sure enough, I look, and I'm photoshopped on Michael Summers' body, and we were swapped. And it was wild. I was looking for 5 minutes. I'm like, man, I hope I get to be on this show, like, because it was all the new people, and y'all had used a picture I hadn't seen it. It was an old press photo or something that I haven't seen in a while. So that picture kind of left my memory. I looked at that picture for 5 minutes. I said, man, I hope they didn't forget I wanted to be on the show. And then sure enough, oh, there I am. Somebody in the comments had to point it out. It's like, that was fun, man. But
yeah, we've got
Yeah,
a
I
really
don't know.
good we've got a really good admin behind the scenes. He's really putting that shit
there's a
together.
fantastic one. I mean,
So we won't disclose that information
the
at
greatest
this time, but
editing crew of all time, because I'm good and bad with technology. Apparently that showed that I'm horrible with it because I couldn't recognize myself was photoshopped on somebody else's body. But yeah, it's easy to fool me when it comes to technology, man.
have the body of a much younger man.
I don't even know, to be honest, man.
That did not sound well.
Yes, sir.
So, what kind of musical influences do you have? Are you I hear you're a metal fan.
I am a metal fan, but I'm also a fan of everything. So I'm going to sum this up because this is something I can talk about for hours, but we're not going to do that because I don't need to do that. So I'll start off with just my main group of influences. There's so many, but I'm just going to give you a list just so y'all know how broad my music taste is. We're going to start off with Elton John, one of my all-time favorites.
Yes, dude.
And then this is going to change it up. We're going to jump to Kendrick Lamar. I love Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
I love his
yeah.
writing style. I love his lyrics. I love his beats. I mean, I love everything about it. I love Pantera.
Yeah.
Big jump right there. I love Marty Robbins. Another jump. Like, where are we going here? And then Randy Rogers, stuff like that. Like, my influences, there's no straight line. Like, it's all over the place. But back on the metalhead thing, I am. And my dad kind of introduced me to all that. Because I always grew up listening to music. Whether my mom listened to a lot of country, and she still loves country, and my dad listened to a lot of hair metal, hard rock, and all that from the time he grew up. Just the 70s and 80s and early 90s, when it was booming, like hardcore. And Pantera was one of those bands, obviously out of Arlington, hometown kind of boys that I was always into. And, well, my drummer got me on them heavily, but my biggest metal kind of guy that my dad got me onto was Alice in Chains and Metallica. Those were like his two bands, Metallica when he was a little younger, and then in the 90s, Alice in Chains really kind of popped off and stuff. And I'm young, first of all, so I don't really know the eras of when these guys really were huge like y'all do, because me and Martin talked, and just everybody, we all kind of talked about our music upbringings and our musical influences, and I'm still jealous that I didn't get to see Metallica or Alice in Chains in their golden years.
I know the feeling.
I can't even imagine what it would have been like to be a kid when Master of Puppets came out. Like when that album came out, just to know the history. Or when I always forget the Alice in Chains, the one that Man in the Box is on, and just all that album. I always forget the name of it, but just imagine being young when that. Yeah, was that it?
Facelift.
Yeah, that album, and then just the Toadies, Rubberneck. One of my favorite albums of all time. It's just imagine being, and this is me, y'all were when Rubberneck and Facelift and all that was coming out, y'all were young, y'all were teenagers and stuff, and I was probably not even a thought yet, but I just, the history, man.
Thought we weren't talking about your age.
He said I wasn't even that.
Hey, you just made us sound really old.
No, y'all aren't old.
Like-
Listen,
Ryder,
Back in
I only got a couple years
do
on
unto
you.
those.
It's okay. I
that is true.
understand.
Corey only has a couple years on me. No, I mean, yeah, it's wild, man, because early 90s were a good time, and
I wish.
What I hear
I wish
from
I
you
lived
though
back
is
then.
if it's good music, you were kind of drawn to it. Like if it was good music, you found it.
For sure, man. I was always attracted. I mean, the country stuff was my main deal, but metal and just rock and all that has always just had a fascination to me. And I've really just gotten into rap over the past 3 years. And it's just all fascinates me because you just listen to so many different styles of music. And it first of all, gives you inspiration. And I've taken inspiration from everything that I listen to. I mean, there's riffs. That's weird to say as a traditional country sounding singer to say I have a riff in my song, but like I'll write like riffs and it's like, man, that's cool. Like that sounds like grunge 90s rock or something like
You
that.
feel like you build a song around a riff sometimes?
Sometimes I do, and to be honest, most of my songs I would build, and most of my songs don't have riffs in them. Like we're not over here like chugging on the.
But that's your like
yeah,
initial idea.
yeah, man.
To get that juice flowing.
Like keep it country where licks. Like
lick.
if I build like a lick or something.
Yeah, they're licks.
I feel so weird saying like I have a riff in my song. I wish I had riffs. Yeah, like that. Like I'm not here. Dun, 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 dun. Like that's not what I'm building my songs off of.
People
No.
are gonna come out to see you expecting a 7-string, and
I almost
Right.
I am on the hunt for a 7-string right now. Don't ask why, guitar players, but
You just want that low end.
I see.
it's just another good.
Geo uses both of their guitar players play 7.
Jared Flushies.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, man.
Yeah, with the Music Man.
Cool
I-
ass dude right
yeah, and he has a. That was the first. At the time I opened for Giovanni, they were still kind of labeled as country, like breaking the seal between country and rock. And Jared walks out with the 7-string.
Yeah.
I said, okay, like this is cool right here, like metal,
Neon-
but you're
neon
keep on
green.
yeah, the neon
Yeah.
green, and it was I forgot what brand, but now he's with Music Man. It's just, it's I saw them, I said, man, this is cool, like, and then you have Hardy. He has a song, I think it's in drop A. I'm not like, don't count on me on that, but like on this new record, it's like you can like when he released this record, Mockingbird and the Crow, it's country and metal together. I'm like, man, this guy just like combined my brains, like cool. And then he has like Truck Bed, that's got like that kind of hip hop type beat. I'm like, okay, this is cool right here. Like you can blend all of these genres together. You just have to know how to do it. And I try to do that in all my music. And all my music is traditional sounding Texas country music, but still, even in some of my word choice, like I'll pull a lyric from like, they'll say something different, like in a rap song, like just even like pronunciation of words, like from different country songs, I'll pull that. Like, somebody pronounced this different, like saying like you pronounce like smile. I have a song called that, and this is perfect because like some people say smile, some people say like smile. Like there's different ways to say things, and it's depending on who you are, because this is
like a
as
different
people,
delivery. Like
yeah,
deliver like yeah.
as people, we all deliver things different, and I just think it's cool. Like you can combine some of that stuff, and man, I'm just getting all over the place. But
Most definitely though, man. No, this is good. This is good stuff, dude. We're talking about good stuff.
I love to talk, man, and when it comes to music, I will talk for hours. But
I know that's
no,
right.
we got to keep it on the trail a little bit.
All right, so
Yeah, cheers, fellers.
cheers.
Cheers.
We doing this? Okay. Yeah,
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, yeah.
Shout out Apex Boots.
Yeah, shout out Apex, man.
Apex,
Delicious.
motherfucker.
So Ryder, y'all been going deep in the music end of this interview, and we're gonna go a little more into some riffs locally. Could you please explain to us what the beef with Mr. Jackson Randolph is?
Jackson, I'm coming for you. I'm gonna get you.
Punk ass.
We'll come down there. Come down there to College Station. We're gonna go to Lane's, and I'm gonna eat more chicken strips than you. Watch out, buddy.
I don't think he.
You don't
got
know who
that
you're
one.
talking to right here. You tell me to cut my hair one more time, Jackson. We're gonna have it.
Oh no.
And your truck's still nicer than mine. You
So
sell
word
it to
on the
me.
street is he challenged you to a breakdance fight.
Oh, I didn't know this,
And
Jackson.
knowing what we know about Jackson Randolph,
Hey.
he threw a judo instructor into the wall.
I did not know that, dude.
Did
He
it.
broke his back.
Wow,
At Legends Fit.
He
that's the gym I go to too, man.
Dude, Jackson once misspelled my name, so I just started spelling it different.
Man, that scares me right there, man. I'm gonna have to be careful next time I'm running around College Station, and even up here, man. He comes up here, I know, and I gotta be careful.
I
What
would
could he
challenge
do?
that boy to a chicken eating contest. He looks hungry, man. Like,
Well, I'm
see it,
hungry
you
too,
see it.
man. I don't care
Like-
what diet I'm on. I'll eat some chicken strips, man. Especially Lane's. We'll go down there and tear it up. And Jackson, I'm coming for you. Don't challenge me, buddy.
All right, Jackson Randolph. After your forehead comment
that
this morning,
boy.
this is the closest you're going to get to an episode. For sure.
Damn, let
Wow.
him have it.
Man,
Let him have it.
I love that.
You're getting a
old boy,
shout
though.
out where we talk smack. That's it.
Hey, even though we have beef, even though we're gonna go into a chicken fight,
I love
not
you,
the
Jackson.
kind you do in a swimming pool, I love Jackson Randolph, man. He's a we even just this past weekend before we filmed this, man, we had a great time. We just good old boys. He's a good old boy.
I love Jackson. We talk every day about 9 o'clock in the morning.
He calls me
when
every
I'm
day.
at work.
Yeah, me too. He calls me every day.
He's the one guy that if he got in a chicken fight, he's gonna be on a girl's shoulders.
No, man, I
Chicken
love
little.
We
He's
love
chicken
you.
little.
We love you.
Love you, Jackson.
that. No, I
love you,
love
buddy.
that. I love that kid. Man.
We had to shout you out because this was kind of last minute. I know you wanted to be here for Ryder's episode.
I wish you were here, buddy.
We do too. All right, Ryder. Bringing it back in from all the smack talking. You've played a couple cool ass shows, man. You played at the Cowboy Christmas at the NFR.
Yeah, man, we did that one. That was an experience right there, and the sickness after it was too.
Yeah, I think everybody got that after the NFR right there.
And you can say like everybody got sick, and it's like 10 people. No, dude, everybody got sick after Vegas this year.
Mhm.
Every person I know got sick that went to Vegas. People that I didn't know were in the airport complaining about how they were sick. I'm like, dude, is this the end? Like, is it time to retire and just die from mystery sickness from the
Vegas
and
crud,
it's not
as they
from the
called it?
it's not from the buffets at the casinos either. I mean,
Hey, them things were good.
yeah, South Point had a good buffet.
Yes, the breakfast buffet.
Yes, dude, it was good.
God.
I would go up in there and eat, but we're not gonna talk about that.
They had bottomless Bloody Marys too. That's my part to talk about. They had bottomless Bloody Marys while you ate breakfast.
Yeah, dude, it was wild. But no, man, playing Cowboy Christmas was fun. That was a good time. A lot of people. We did that with 95.9 The Ranch, and that was really cool.
Hell yeah!
That's
And then
Thank you.
at the Houston rodeo, you also did the songwriters competition.
I did. That was it's crazy to think that was like almost a year and a half ago. I did.
Really?
Yeah, man, I was just I wasn't even really in the Texas country scene. I was just this old boy just wanting to sing and play some music. So I entered this competition called Rodeo Rockstar, and I did it. I didn't win, but nothing wrong with that. It was just a good time. Got to meet a lot of great people that I'm still friends with today. Wow. To this day, I'm talking too fast, but it was a great time, the Houston Rodeo Rockstar competition. It definitely changed my outlook on music, and it was kind of my first big thing to really go into, and it was life-changing. I was nervous, man, but it was fun, and I'm thankful I got to do that.
Hell yeah!
I got a question for you, Ryder.
What's up?
So, earlier you were talking about your influences, and you mentioned Randy Rogers. Now, didn't you just recently play a show with Randy?
Yes, sir, I
And,
did.
So, man, tell me, like, is that surreal, or are you just Hollywood already, and it's just like, this is
no,
been
man.
coming to me like?
I will say
No.
Randy Rogers is cool as shit.
Oh,
you will
dude.
never know.
Oh,
he
dude,
is
I
him.
bet that was an epic show, man.
Dude,
That
he
was
is so
epic.
he's so cool, man. And we hit it off there, and we aren't like super close, but we know each other, and that was just. It's not. I don't get starstruck by famous people. It's more of just a humbling thing. Like, man,
Yeah, for sure.
like that. It's like I said, no starstruck. It's just like, man, it's crazy that this individual. I grew up on Randy Rogers, the self-titled album, the black and orange one. I think it was that first or second album after. Let me think.
Roller
It was
coaster and
No, it was the album before Roller Coaster. I think it's just it's Randy Rogers Band is the name of it, but it had In My Arms Instead. No, I'm getting all my titles mixed up. I've been listening to a lot of Randy Rogers, but just that album came out in 06, and In My Arms Instead. Just how am I just blanking on titles? Buy Myself a Chance. Circus Leaves Town. Like that's what I grew up on, and to open for him. And just get to meet him and shake his hand, and it was kind of surreal. Like it's just, man, this is cool. Like not a starstruck, like I'm gonna faint, but it was just like, and this guy like kind of sang my younger years, man. It was awesome. It
Yeah.
was. I can just go on and on about the cool experiences, but
It's cool to see, man.
that was cool. Thank
and they're
you,
just
man.
beginning. That's what's really cool.
Thank y'all,
Like-
man. But
Like we all know it. They're all it's just beginning.
thank
Absolutely.
you. He's a cool dude, like Corey said, man. He's just down to earth, cool. I was sound checking. I walked in there, and they were watching the Astros game and freaking out and having a good time, and that was a fun day, a great day.
He played at Sojo a couple weeks back, and he was just walking around like after the set was over and everybody was kind of thinning out of the area. He was just walking around like not making a big deal, not anything. Just come up, stood next to the bar with me, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Well, see, that was the night before I opened for him. He played Sojo the night before I opened for him, so that was on the 31st.
dope.
Yeah, so
Hell
that's
yeah.
cool. Y'all were at that one, and then I got to do it at Chop Shop
Mm-hmm.
out in Roanoke.
That's sweet.
All right, so hey, what do you have coming up? Like new shows, new venues, anything that's coming up that you're looking forward to? Like, what do you want to shout out?
Man, there's some stuff I can't talk about. I wish I could, but I can't. But,
Talk about it.
No, we're working on some cool stuff. Some trying to confirm some cool gigs, and we'll get those out soon. But trying to think, May 4th. That's coming up in like a week. And when this episode airs, it could be like 3 days, 2 days before this show. But May 4th, we're going to be out at the Lava Cantina in the Colony with Mr. Wade Bowen. That's going to be a cool one. We're recording a live EP there. So we're going to put out 5 live songs as a little kind of like, hey, you haven't come seen us, but you should. Like, here's what to expect. So we're going to put out like 4 or 5 live songs. We're going to go record that. We got, recording live stuff is sketchy when you don't understand it. So I'm like, all right, guys, let's just go over there and do a dry run. So we're going to go do some practicing on the dry recordings and just make sure everything works.
But when you nail it, though,
Yeah, man, it's the coolest thing.
like
because,
nothing like that feeling.
because I grew up listening to live at Billy Bob's albums. And it's just cool to go do like your little live record. Like, and maybe one day work up to live at Billy Bob's. It's cool to kind of do that. And even they do dry runs of their stuff. So I'm like, all right, let's just go test this out.
Absolutely. I mean, that's like professional way.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't want anything to break because I freak out when things go wrong.
Matt, you want to drop the pro level line again?
Yeah.
Pro level? No, last time I was like all drunk and shit, and I like walked over there and wrote pro level upside down on paper when Weathered Souls was playing. I was like, dude, these guys are fucking pro level.
Pro level.
Oh my god.
Ryder Grimes is
gotta-
that.
So we're gonna say, without a doubt, Ryder Grimes, pro level.
Yeah.
Man, you gotta be. You can't be having issues
You
because
can't
issues
be out here
scare
half
me.
stepping, bro. You can't
No,
be out here
gotta
half
be big stepping.
Hey, he got that thinging.
That thing is
God bless.
allegedly.
But no,
Allegedly. How old are you? Never mind. We're not talking about
We're
that.
not talking about that.
nothing to hide. It's just you gotta guess.
You're not underage, right? Okay, cool.
If you want to
He's
guess,
legal.
go ahead. But anyway,
Say 23. Solid 23.
Matt just threw it out there.
9.
I got.
23 and me. He's got 4 kids.
Listen, this is gonna be a short little thing, and then we're gonna get back on the shows. But somebody said I was 30 the other day.
I mean, you write and sing songs like you 30.
Dude,
you
that
know.
can be a
No.
compliment. That can totally be a compliment. Take that from a 30-year-old. Like, that can totally be a compliment.
That means you have an old soul.
That is a fact. An old
Absolutely
soul.
right.
A
For
weathered
sure.
soul.
A weathered soul.
Weathered
Shout out to
Souls.
Brock
Shout out to
and the
Weathered
gang.
Souls, man.
But no, May 4th we're out there with Wade Bowen at Lava. May 5th we're gonna be at Gillies and at Choctaw up there in Oklahoma. It's gonna be fun.
Playing at Choctaw.
Yeah, man. Yep, up
You're just
there.
gonna drop that casually.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's gonna be a cool gig. We're looking forward to it. And then June 2nd, we're gonna be out at TMR Fest, which is the Texas Music Revolution Festival, presented by 95.3, and then the Range. And then June 3rd, we're gonna be at Southern Junction. That's gonna be a big show, man. Hometown, we're home.
Yes,
So come
sir.
out, get your tickets. Working on a run right now. June 30th, we're gonna be up in Ottawa, Kansas. But we're working on putting a run or two together up there while we're passing through. So we need to go up there and make it worth our while to be up there and hang out and go hit some new towns. So if you got a town, throw it down. Tulsa's on the map, Nebraska, Kearney, Nebraska, Kearney. That's how you pronounce it. Kearney, Nebraska's on the map, and maybe Oklahoma City and St. Louis. Any cities like that, man. But we're hitting Ottawa on June 30th. We're gonna play up there with Ned Ledoux up there at the Ottawa Memorial Coliseum. That's gonna be a good gig. And like I said, we're going to be putting together a little Midwest run up there. So a lot of cool stuff coming up, man, and a lot of stuff that I'm ready to announce. But
Dude, that's awesome. You're like on tour.
Yeah,
Man,
man. Hollywood. That boy is Hollywood.
Settle down,
Ryder
Hollywood.
Grimes.
I wouldn't say on tour, but man, we're trying.
He's like, we're doing a little something. We're doing.
Just
That's it.
casually
We're-
dropping
I
all
got
these
a
dates.
couple of shows.
I can't talk about the big ones, but here's the little ones for you. Here's the little shows.
But man, we're just trying. I'm just thankful to get to do this. It's fun to get to do something that you grew up just having fun doing as a hobby, and get to do it to make your money and have this as a career. It's really neat.
For sure, man. And we love to see it, bro. And
Thank y'all.
I think I can speak on everybody in this room, man. We all believe in you, brother.
Thank
We've
y'all
been
very
seeing
much,
you doing
man.
it
It
for
means a
a while
ton.
now,
So
and
from the start.
it's well deserved, man. It's well deserved.
Much deserved success.
Thank y'all very much,
sure.
man. And it's crazy to think that I kind of grew up around all y'all, like y'all, and then I met Corey and Josh, and just y'all were kind of like the OGs, and then you and Martin, and then Matt came in, and then Josh, and then Corey, and just everybody, the whole gang. I grew up around y'all, and it's cool to be sitting here tonight recording this episode, all grown up and stuff, doing this on my own because
Yeah, man.
I was little bitty watching you and just everybody, man, all the Hunt County guys just jamming. I'm like, man, that's cool. Like, what's it take to do that? I want my own band, and now I have just the most phenomenal band in the world that I'm beyond thankful for, and I'm out here doing this myself. So it's very cool, man. I'm very blessed.
That's right, man.
Hell yeah, man.
We're happy for you, man.
Thank
Very
y'all.
happy for you.
Most
Thank
definitely.
y'all.
All right, Ryder.
What's up?
Well, thank you for joining us for this episode of True Tall Tales and Whiskey. Ryder, it was a pleasure to have you out here tonight.
Thank y'all for having me, man. It means a ton to be out here, and we're close to home.
Absolutely. I can't wait for everybody to see this one. And thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to close this out now.
Thank y'all.
Peace.